That's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
The crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dave Montgomery on the Lions, former Bear, gonna make this his revenge game for sure. David Montgomery gets the touchdown that ices the game. No! And there's a flag. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. There's flags. Snap. Hold. Kick.
Denver wins! Denver wins! Let's go!
They open. No!
What happened? Oh shit.
Good morning. Welcome to the first episode of Only Football's NFL Breakfast Club. Kyle and I are going to be talking a lot of the top headlines in the NFL. Brian Callahan fired from the Titans. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about why Harbaugh thinks that the Ravens are still a playoff contender. We're also going to be looking ahead at some Week 7 matchups and talking about Kyle and I's favorite matchups. Thanks for joining us. Let's get it. America is football.
America is football. Football is America. And if you don't like it, you can kiss your candy ass. For the moment in time, I don't give a damn. Oh my God!
No!
You loved it.
30 to 27.
Oh!
Chiefs win. Chiefs win 30 to 20. Woo! Oh, Kyle
NFL
froze.
Breakfast Club. I'm Kyle and that's Rick.
I'm Rick. Let's go.
There it is. We got some really good stuff to throw at you today. Week 6 is in the books. That comes with a lot of storylines. We're going to cover a lot of ground today. Some good, some bad, some indifferent. But we're going to start off with one that is really close to home. Not my emotional home, but my physical home.
Yep.
Brian Callahan is just fired yesterday. So just is relative, but just fired yesterday. And look, it had to happen. It had to happen. Bryce Callahan. I guess if there's just one thing I had to say to justify this whole thing, it would be that the guy they fired, remember Mike Vrabel? He was the guy that was winning Coach of the Year and going to AFC championships. That guy has as many wins with the Patriots this year than Brian Callahan has in the last 2 years. Vrabel didn't coach last year. Like, that is absolutely insane. And I think, the temperature around here is like whatever it takes to win. We're just tired of being ass. And this is a results-driven business. And if you don't win, or you can lose, but you have to show improvement a little bit once in a while. You can't just be, the same amount of ass for 2 years straight. And that's what the Titans have been. Like, let's just face it. They're just a terrible team. Whenever you're just getting beat the way they're getting beat every single week, like, it has to come down to coaching. I mean, the buck stops with coaching. That's how it's supposed to be. It's like, okay, you're getting 28 penalties or 20 penalties a game. Like, that's on coaching. And it's just, there's so many things we could talk about, but Tennessee fires Callahan. Obviously nobody was shocked by this. Yeah. But at the same time, like, it is early in the season. What was your immediate takeaway from Callahan being fired?
It was honestly, like you said, I wasn't necessarily surprised, but when you see the news like that, you're just still like, oh my God, right? Like, there's still a bit of like a shock, surprise sort of thing. And that was kind of my reaction was, oh my God, they actually fired him and it's week 6. Right. And kind of what you're saying, it is a bit early, but we've got to remember and you said it best yesterday on the Monday Night Football live stream, they haven't improved like at all this season. There was no signs of improvement because even with a rookie quarterback, a second-year head coach, and a roster that isn't necessarily, the one of the ones that you're looking at and being like, yeah, that's awesome, right? It still needs some improvement over time. The defense looked good at moments, but they can never play a full game to be considered or to be considered an improved defense. The offense definitely has not improved one bit. They're still dropping passes. Cam Ward is still trying his best. The offensive line has given up sacks. There's a lot to look at this Titans team and be like, why wasn't this done? Honestly, maybe even a little bit sooner, because time and game again, you don't see any sort of improvement. And just to kind of cement that no improvement, the Titans scored 83 points this season. They have only scored 83 points this season. The Bears scored 40 in week 3 against Dallas. So to only score 83 over 6 games, I mean, just like Cam Ward said, if we're keeping it a buck, they're ass. They are ass right now. And there's no improvement. We've seen it all. So Brian Callahan getting fired, honestly, it's a good decision, and they're going to be making their senior offensive assistant Mike McCoy the interim head coach, and he's had some experience being the Chargers head coach from 13 to 16. Yeah. So there's some experience there on McCoy's part. It says senior offensive assistant
for the Broncos.
No, for the Titans.
Okay. No, I'm pretty sure Mike McCoy was our offensive coordinator, and then he was promoted to head coach, but with the Chargers.
Yeah.
And then that failed, and I didn't know he was with Tennessee. He's just one of those guys that kind of got lost in the big picture for the last 8 years. But the one thing I'll say, and we'll move on about the Tennessee thing, is coaches, when you get the number 1 overall pick, usually it's because you've been a really, usually you have a lot of dysfunction to get that pick. Tennessee, they get Cam Ward with it, and it doesn't produce right away. And we saw just a year ago, Jaden Daniels take his team to the NFC Championship. And the year before that, we saw C.J. Stroud take his team to the divisional round. And I think the expectation is now like, oh, these quarterbacks are more ready than ever. They just expect the immediate results right away. And it's like, no, like that was an exception. And it's hard to tell people that because an exception happened right after that. And it was like, oh, you had 2 exceptions in a row. Like maybe the game's just changing and these players are coming out more pro ready. But like you see Cam Ward, and I don't know anybody that's been watching football that actually works in the NFL media that says Cam Ward's not the guy. So, the fact that they feel like they have the guy, and they're still losing all these games tells you that they have a lot of issues. Because usually if you have competent quarterback play, that can win you at least half your games. And in Tennessee's case, it isn't. But they also played Denver. They had to play the Rams.
I was going to say, you saw him firsthand with the Broncos, and even you complimented his poise and his ability to get the ball out quick enough,
Yeah, and they played the Titans, the Rams, the Broncos, or no, the Texans, the Rams, Texans. The Broncos. So right there, I mean, those are 3 playoff teams, and then week 5 they had to play they had their bye week. Oh no, they played the Cardinals, and hey, they got their first win. They played their first bad team, and they won. You know, so. Sometimes, too, when you look at these early season firings, strength of schedule sometimes gets the better of the head coach because it's like you're not going to compete with the Rams, the Broncos, the Texans. Like you're just not there right now to win those games. But yeah, it's the worst 23 game start for any Titans coach in history.
That's so bad.
4-19 is going to be his overall record. Finished last in the AFC South, earned of course, that number 1 overall pick, and then tied for the worst record. He started 0-3 for a second straight year. First back-to-back 0-3 start since 1983 when they were the Houston Oilers. This is like uncharted territory of bad for the Tennessee Titans. And like, they're just hoping whoever comes in, they got a GM that came from the Chiefs. The GM's still there. And the one thing he saw the Chiefs do and Andy Reid is build a really good coaching staff. So whoever gets hired next, it's going to be dependent on their ability to recruit and who they can bring in to coach this team.
Kyle, without looking at their next matchup in week 7, do the Titans win their first game after Callahan's fired?
Without looking at who they play?
Yeah. Just
I usually, yes. Like,
okay.
Statistically, when you fire your head coach or bench your quarterback, you're more likely to win. It's like it's a one game boost, and the team just like rallies around that quarterback or that coach. So I would say yeah, but it is hard because if they play a top 7 team, I'm going to say it's not enough. But
yeah, I feel you.
But if they play like a Cardinals again, like I would take the Titans, a team like that. But,
true.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I got here. But third fewest total yards in his whole tenure. That's 32nd in the league, dead last. Passing yards per game, 150. It's just not good. None of it is. There's not even one thing that you could look to if you wanted to save this man's job and say, well, at least he's doing blank right. And that one thing doesn't exist.
It's hard to find anything.
right. There's nothing there. But the guy that they fired, and I was very much against this Mike Vrabel firing. I didn't like it. I still don't like it. But I said I wanted the Bears to bring Vrabel in. I was like, I know you guys want Ben Johnson, and it's working out for you guys. But I felt like Mike Vrabel was what the Bears needed. It's like sometimes you have wants and needs. You want Ben Johnson, but you need Mike Vrabel. You need somebody to come in and set a culture. Yep. And of course, the Bears went with Ben Johnson. The Patriots, on the other hand, they went with Mike Vrabel, and the Patriots are only the number 2 seed in the AFC right now. Drake May is playing like a top 10 quarterback. Yeah, I said last year, and I'm going to get a lot of pushback for this, that he looked like the closest thing to Josh Allen that is in the NFL. Ooh. And I just see it, like the height, the way he plays. He's not afraid to kind of like, he's got a big arm, like he throws the ball downfield. And is it possible that the Patriots were sitting there going, we need our own version of Josh Allen. We're in the division with him. We need somebody like that. And they've played their first game. The Patriots won on, what was that, a Sunday night football game last week?
Yeah, against the Bills.
Patriots, Bills, yeah.
Yeah. Monday night, Sunday night football, yeah.
And now the Patriots are, being considered like one of the hottest teams in the AFC. Mike Vrabel just got here. They seemingly are getting better every single week. What do you make of the Patriots' success? Drake May, like, what do you think about everything going on in Boston right now?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said, man. It's Mike Vrabel coming into that facility and being like, I have played under Bill Belichick and the Patriot way culture. I have coached a Titans team with a quarterback that nobody believed in, Tannehill, brought him back into the mix as one of those quarterbacks that you look at and you're like, wow, Tannehill is doing really great. Derrick Henry, that whole AFC leading team, they got to the AFC championship game. They had really good success in comparison to what they were doing before, right? The Titans. So Vrabel comes in with a mindset of, I know how to build a team because not only have I coached it, but I've played in a team that was successful. And second year of Drake May, you get rid of Gerard Mayo, which, I think everybody thought that was the right move. And whether or not it was the right move, you had Mike Vrabel there to bring him into the Patriots. And I think Robert Kraft was like, you know what? I have to make this move. And credit to Robert Kraft, because we say it on this show all the time. Once you have identified that what the decision you made is not working or it is not the right fit, you cut loose, and you cut loose right away. And that's exactly what Robert Kraft did with Gerard Mayo. Now, yeah, it sucks for Gerard Mayo, but look at where the Patriots are now. I'm positive there are no Patriots fans complaining about Mike Vrabel coming in as head coach. What's his name? McDaniels coming in as offensive coordinator. And this team at 4-2, a complete 180 from what they were last year under Gerard Mayo. And yes, it was just a few games, but it's still a culture that is being built under Vrabel with Drake May at the forefront. And these guys like Stephon Diggs, who was kind of like forgotten after his injury with the Texans and then brought in with the Patriots, and Boutte and Christian Gonzalez. You're starting to see that there's a culture being built, and Travion Henderson too is going to be a part of that, where Patriots fans are like, okay, this might be the second coming of the Tom Brady, Bill Belichick dynasty. And Bills fans and Dolphins fans and Jets fans hate to hear that. So, they're leading the AFC East right now, which is not something that I would have expected during the offseason. I had them finishing last or third in the division during our division predictions. And look at where they're at now. They're sitting atop the AFC East with a 4-2 record, beating an AFC East rival for the first time in a long time. The Bills we saw, in week 5. So this success is a culmination of players and coaches and organization all on the same page with the same mission and doing it by executing wins and getting to where they're at now, beating their rivals, man. It sucks because I'm sure Bills fans have been waiting to be atop the AFC East for as long as they have been. And then you see Drake May and Vrabel just running at you. And they're like, no, give us this time.
Be good. Not yet. Like, we haven't won a Super Bowl yet.
Exactly.
I saw a Bills fan that had that comment. It was so funny. It was it was a Patriots fan, and he was talking to a Bills fan, and he said, he's like, surely you guys won a Super Bowl while we were rebuilding.
Yeah.
And it's like,
come on, right?
They did not take advantage. I mean, They won a lot of games, but no hardware to go with it while the Patriots were rebuilding. And now you look at this team, they're second in EPA per play. The Patriots are a top 5 playoff contender per analytics, whether you're talking about advanced metrics like him throwing the ball, turnovers, offensive yards. Like they're killing it in all of these categories. And I'm going to give some rare flowers to Josh McDaniels. I don't know if Josh McDaniels deserves credit or if Drake May is just so good that he's the first quarterback that Josh McDaniels hasn't destroyed.
Because he's not that coach.
Yeah, that's like all Josh McDaniels does is just ruin quarterbacks, whether it's Carr, what was it, Tebow or Jay Cutler? Not Tebow, Jay Cutler. Yeah. He just has a really bad track record. And I was wondering how that was going to go when Vrabel brought in McDaniels, but Vrabel's kind of like a no BS guy. So if Josh McDaniels was getting out of line, you trusted Vrabel to put him in his place. But what do you make of Drake May's success with Josh McDaniels? The one thing Josh has been doing, I've noticed on these deep balls, he's got the tight end or the running back running a chip on the edge rusher. That's allowing for an extra, second to sit back there, which has turned into these big time plays downfield. So Josh McDaniels is drawing up plays for Drake May to have more time. But yeah, I mean, we know Josh McDaniels, pretty intimately at this point. This is kind of a good thing, but what does it say more about Josh McDaniels or more about Drake May to you?
Oof, that's a very good question. If Josh McDaniels was the head coach, he'd probably be like, you know what? Let's trade Drake May. Let's bring in this Mac Jones guy. He looked good in San Francisco.
About that Flacco guy.
How about that Flacco? A really grizzly veteran. Let's bring him in. It's tough because McDaniels has done this time and time again as an offensive coordinator, obviously with the Patriots. his head coaching stints have just been completely disastrous. And like you said, it's a good thing that he's just an offensive coordinator. Some guys are just really good at that one thing. And Vrabel, for the most part, is very good at being a head coach. So like you said, if Josh McDaniels ever got out of line, Vrabel's like, dude, I got you this job. I can get you out of it. Right. So he's definitely the culture setter, and he's definitely the one where the buck stops here, right, with Vrabel. Because Josh McDaniels, we have seen, is not a good head coach. But I think this is a great partnership between Josh McDaniels and Drake May. You know, you had mentioned the comparisons of Drake May with Josh Allen, and Bills fans hate to hear it because they're like, no, Josh Allen is one of a kind. But Josh McDaniels is also drawing up an offense which is like just a really good one for Drake May right now. And I'm sure as Drake May goes along, plays more games, has more years in the NFL, you're going to be able to do some more things with that. But right now, Josh McDaniels and the entire scheme and the strategy that they're creating for Drake May is working really well. And they don't really have playmakers, right? Like Kayshon Boutte and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs 3 years ago, you're talking, oh my God, this is a major pickup for Drake May. Kayshon Boutte, I don't know, like not necessarily wide receiver one material yet, but you see that connection starting to grow. And then you bring in Travion Henderson, and then that offense is like looking a lot better. Obviously, you invest in the line. So again, the strategy which Josh McDaniels is calling plays as offensive coordinators is a huge compliment to Drake May's abilities, and you've seen it. He is doing really well, and just stats wise, 1,522 yards, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Interception rate of 1.1%. Like that is beautiful. Yep. And this might actually get Josh McDaniels another head coaching job. Just kidding. I doubt it. But he is doing a really good job. I think you've got to credit both of these guys. One, with the strategy on Josh McDaniels' side, and two, on the execution by Drake May. It's just a really good pairing here.
Yeah, and I think too, when we're going to go back to Sunday Night Football here, not 2 weeks ago, but Sunday Night Football last week, the Detroit Lions and the Chiefs. This game was really important. Now Kansas City they were favored to win this game, and I didn't understand it. I was like, okay, everybody collectively has the Lions at number 1, and I mean, it didn't matter where you looked, the Lions were number 1, and then the Chiefs were outside the top 10. Yet everyone agrees that the Chiefs are going to win. So what are we doing? Like, I don't understand. And the Chiefs ultimately did win a 30-17 game, but I see this all the time where, like I said, the Chiefs Jaguars game, on Monday night before this, the Jags were. I felt like the Jags and the Chiefs were like right neck and neck. Watching them play, I was like, there's things you like. There's inconsistency at times. And then it's like the Jags win at the very end of the game. And then the Jags are in like the top 7 and the Chiefs are 16. And I'm like, well, wouldn't they be neck and neck? It's not like the Jags blew them out or anything like that. And I feel like it's just the power rankings have become so like win-loss record dependent, where like instead of evaluating the team, we evaluate the record. And I just disagree with that way of doing it. Because now, like, what do we do with the Chiefs? Do we throw them at number 1? They just knocked off. I mean, you wouldn't have done that with Denver when they beat the Eagles. The Eagles were at number 1 until Denver beat them. So, like, before we talk about this specific game, what do you make of like the power rankings? Like, is it about like who you beat? Should you replace that team, or is it more about the record to you? Like, where do you think the Chiefs land with this win? Are they top 5 now?
Man, it's tough to say because they are at 500, and I know that right there was record dependent, what I just said, but yeah, 100%. And I think it's a combination of your record, how you've won games, and who you've beaten. And this isn't to say that, teams with an easy schedule, you kind of look at and you scoff at and be like, oh, you've only beat the Panthers and the Saints and the Browns. Those are your 3 out of your 4 wins or something like that. Like, we've said it on the show again multiple times. Like, the schedule is a schedule, and this is still an NFL team. you put the worst team against the best college team, the worst NFL team is probably winning 10 out of 10 times, right? So this is still competition at the highest level, regardless of who you play and where they are in terms of rankings as well. Whether you are going to weigh a Browns win less than a Bills win or an Eagles win or a Lions win, that's totally up to like the subjective nature of the individual, right? I think it has to be a combination of that. It has to be a combination of your record, how you're winning, like I don't want the Bears to keep winning games in which they are, have to go down the field in a minute and a half and kick a field goal to win it. And I'm sure that's not how anybody wants to live. Because we saw the Vikings a few years ago win a ton of those games, get into the playoffs, and then get blown out. You know what I mean? So like a lot of this stuff has to be a combination of how you're winning games, who you're playing, like how is your competition? Like I think that does have to be a small percentage of what we're saying in terms of rankings. And, I just think the biggest factor in that is how are you winning the games? Is your defense really good and your offense kind of stinks and your defense is kind of getting these takeaways? Okay, maybe you are a really good team because you still are in games and your defense keeps you in games. Are you a shootout type of team where you are putting up 40 plus points, but then your opponent is also putting up 40 plus points? And it's like, who has the ball last is going to win. And in terms of the Chiefs, I don't think they should be a top 5 team yet, but they are creeping back into that conversation with the win against the Lions, because the Lions, like you said, they were number one, and they were number one on my rankings for sure in terms of teams in the NFL. But the way they beat them, I think says a lot about the Chiefs and how I'm thinking they're back. I'm fully believing that the Chiefs are back. It's Mahomes, throwing for 3 touchdowns, rushing for 1, getting out of the pocket, able to make some plays. And it's the defense for the Chiefs able to stop a high-powered offense for the Lions, which again, we've talked about where we're like, are they going to be worse? No, they're the same offense. It just took a week to really get back to it for the Lions. So I
always weird too.
Exactly. Yeah. And in week 1, again, it's all up for grabs week 1. I just think the Chiefs are definitely on the up and up. And I think the Lions, I think they're going to be fine. I think they're going to continue to play that they have been, how they have been. But they just met a Chiefs team that played better and honestly dominated the Lions in that game, 30-17, right? So I think it's a combination of things, but the Chiefs looked really, really good against that Lions team on Sunday night.
Yeah, and this is another kind of turning point for the Lions, and it could go bad because we talk about like the way the Bears lost to the Commanders last year. With like, I think sometimes you have these like very emotional losses, and sometimes it's hard to just turn the page. I trust Dan Campbell to do that, but this was like, it felt like whenever you see somebody getting in a fight and it's like, your mom would always tell you like, don't stoop to their level, like, just be above it. Like it felt like at times like you're watching the Lions play and like, for instance, the Chiefs, I believe, were able to get in the Lions' head and to make the Lions play a style of football that's they just weren't themselves in this game. Like the Lions come out on the opening drive, they're moving down, they ate like 9 minutes of clock up, and they get down and it's 4th and 1, and you already know what the Lions are going to do. And I love it. They're going for it. They run a trick play. It results in a touchdown, but then there's a flag because of the illegal formation. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, the Lions are still going to go for it. The offense comes back out onto the field, but Jared Goff's just arguing with the ref about the illegal formation the entire time. And then they take a delay a game. And it's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like you're not even playing football. The play clock's going. This is not the time to talk to the ref. Like, the whole thing was just like a weird sequence of events, and then the game's over, and then
Mhm.
you have a player go punch another player in the face.
Yeah,
Like, and
Brian
he drew
Branch.
blood. Brian Branch gave
Yeah.
him a bloody nose. Was it Juju Smith
It was Juju. I didn't know he gave him a bloody nose. Oh my god.
yeah, unless it was Photoshop, totally possible in these day of the internet
AI.
and AI. But the picture I saw didn't look photoshopped. It looked real, but whatever. He punched him in the face with an open hand for what it's worth. That we've seen that matter in the past, whether the hand's open or closed. Um,
Yeah.
and it was open, but still, it's like Mahomes is saying good game to this guy, and this guy ends up hitting this other dude in the face, Juju, and then all of a sudden
Mhm.
Mahomes is in the middle of a brawl, and that could
Yeah.
have gone south quick. Like
Oh yeah.
Mahomes would have got hurt in that situation. Like I don't know what the
Ooh.
league would have done because that's their golden child. Like you don't hurt him. You had freaking Caitlin Clark in the booth. Like
Yeah.
the NFL, that the Chiefs are one of their biggest assets. Let's just
Mhm.
call it what it is. Like you're bringing Caitlin Clark into the stadium. Like that is just so good for the program as a company. As a
Yeah.
business model. So like that could have gone bad if Mahomes got hurt, which he was in the middle of this brawl. But Brian Branch, I don't know what's going on. And then Dan Campbell, who apologizes to the Chiefs, he
Mhm.
apologizes to the player, and then he apologized to Andy Reid. Branch 1 game suspension, $23,186 fine, and then there's Lions fans like, I don't want what happened to biting kneecaps off? Why are we apologizing now? We're soft. I'm like, he was talking about within the game biting
Mhm.
kneecaps off. He wasn't
Yep.
talking about going up after when you're shaking hands and biting kneecaps, like so
Yeah.
I
Being a little baby after a loss, like that's not
yeah,
the
that's all
Dan
that is.
Campbell culture.
That is not the Dan Campbell culture. And Dan has a really good culture, and that's not it. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what I'm trying to say is like from the arguing with the ref and the penalty and then the fighting, it's like the Lions, it's like in Coach Carter when he goes, we talked all week about coming here and playing our game. Right now,
Mhm.
you're playing theirs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like I felt like the Lions were not even playing Lions football at some point in this game. They lost their identity, and
Mhm.
now they have no Brian Branch. They have
Mhm.
this bad feeling with this loss, and here comes Tampa Bay. And
Yeah.
you wonder, okay, now if they lose this game, all of a sudden this team that we all had at number 1
Mhm.
is a game above 500. And it's very possible with the way Tampa's playing, because when you watch Tampa play, like they know who they are. But can the
Yep.
Lions get back on track? What did you make of the Lions Chiefs game? I know you just kind of told me with the power rankings thing, but just real
Yeah.
quick, like quick takeaway from that game.
It was a really good game. In the first half, it seemed like it was going to go back and forth. I thought there was going to be a lot more points scored, and especially more on the Lions, 17 points. Not necessarily what I expected from the Lions offense. And the Chiefs looked good. There were some drives that stalled, but it seemed like every single offensive drive that the Chiefs had, they were moving the ball downfield, and it looked easy for them, like what we've seen with the Chiefs in the past, right? Between 2019 and 2023, where it was like this offense looks like it could go up against any defense and score 30 in every single game. So it looked really good. Obviously, the after game stuff with the punching and everything, it's a frustrating loss because you got spanked on national television, Lions players. And that's why Brian Branch, I think, acted out the way he did. But the game was a really good national view for the Chiefs to be like, hey, we're still here and we're coming back into the NFL. There's no, window closed, dynasty over for now type of talk. Look, we just destroyed the Lions. We're back in the spotlight. So that was kind of my takeaway from the game for sure.
Yeah, and we talk about Lions lose next week. They're 1 game above 500, and I think the 2025 season through week 6 has
Mhm.
showcased unprecedented league-wide parity right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of unpredictable outcomes. We're seeing a really good balance in tight standings. You look at the NFC North. everybody's neck and neck in the NFC North. You look
Yeah.
at the AFC West, the Chiefs are now 3-3. The Chargers are only got 2 losses. The Broncos only have 2 losses.
Mhm.
I mean, I could go division to division. It's truly there's only one division that's like kind of doing their own thing, and it's the AFC East with the Bills and the Patriots,
Yeah.
Jets and the Dolphins. Which I will pat myself. I predicted this. I had the Jets finishing last, the Dolphins finishing, and if they could both finish last, I would have done it. And
Yeah.
then the Patriots winning 10 games, being a playoff team, and the
Yep.
Bills winning the division. I don't remember if I had the guts to go Patriots 1, but I know I flirted with it. I'll have to go back and check the
Yeah.
tape because I wanted to do it, but I don't think I quite got there because of just what we saw from the Bills. But overall, like the NFL it hasn't been like this for a while, and I had to actually go check the data on this because I was like, okay, I'm noticing something. Now, in the last couple of days, I've noticed the whole world is starting to notice. But 3
Yeah.
days ago, when I felt this way, there wasn't a lot of information on the internet about it. So I just looked at how many teams had 4 wins or more by week 6 this year. And it was like 13 teams. And if the Commanders would have won, it would have been like 14 or 12 and 13. And then
Mhm.
last year I checked it out and there was 10. And the year before there was only 9 teams. So
Wow.
it's true. Like we have like 5 to 6 extra playoff teams that we normally don't have.
Yeah.
And that's what we have right now. And it kind of reminds me of in college football when the NIL thing kind of started taking off.
Yep.
College football became very balanced where it was like, okay, now Alabama's not going to just mop the floor. All of a sudden, Virginia, Alabama's a good game. It's like it just
University of Indiana is ranked 3rd overall.
yeah,
What?
I love it. I absolutely
know.
love it. I think
Yep.
it's so great for the program. The only people that struggle with it are people that were just really happy with the ability to exploit their players and dangle a carrot in front of them so that they
Yeah.
could win national championships. But I think if you're a good person, you like it. And that is
Yeah.
so broad. But, and trust me, I was a guy that was like, well, they are giving the players something. They're giving them a free education at,
Yeah.
University of Florida.
Mhm.
That's not nothing. But I
Mhm.
understand the other argument of like,
Mhm.
yeah, but they're selling jerseys and like, come on, they're making millions of dollars. Johnny
Yeah.
Manziel is one of the best stories. Like the Texas A&M, they weren't even in the SEC, and then Johnny Manziel shows up. They go into the SEC, and only a year later, they're
Mhm.
rebuilding Kyle Field with like $100 million upgrade to the
Yep.
stadium. That's
Yep.
because of Johnny Manziel and the money he brought and the attention.
Mhm.
Like he put that team on the map.
Money
For good.
Manziel.
Exactly, dude.
Mhm.
Everyone was doing this. Drake was making rap songs about him. Like it was a phenomenon,
Yeah.
And should this guy only be compensated with a Texas A&M education? Like, okay, no. Like that's obviously not true. But I digress.
Mhm.
The NFL this year has turned into the NIL college version, and everybody's balanced. And I think it's as simple as there is so many great quarterbacks in the league. And I'm gonna ask you a question that is probably gonna blow your mind because I didn't tell you I was gonna ask you this, but
How dare you?
this is gonna be one of those questions though that you're gonna go, holy crap, I never thought about that because I hadn't either until 3 days ago. Is it possible that the NFL is going to get to a point because of the 2023 or 2024 draft class where 6 starting quarterbacks came in and essentially took their team, made them playoff contenders immediately?
Yeah.
Is it possible that we're approaching territory where a really great quarterback class is about to come out and there's more quarterbacks than there are needs for quarterbacks? There's
Ooh.
only 2-3 teams that need a quarterback, but there's 6 quarterbacks that should be selected in the first round.
Yeah.
We've never been there before in the NFL. I feel like we're
Mhm.
getting close to that, and I haven't heard a single conversation about it.
Yeah.
But I think that ties into this league-wide parity. Why is everyone so
Yeah.
good? Everyone's got a good quarterback right now, so everyone's got a chance to win. But what do you make of all that?
I definitely never thought about that, Kyle. So that's actually a very, very good question. And Can we get there? I think so, because like you just mapped out, right? 2-3 years ago, we had 5 less teams that were a legit playoff contender versus right now, where we have however many teams with 4 wins, however many teams with just 1 loss, yada, 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 etc. I think that can happen because with the parity that we see now in the NFL, because of that 2024 draft class with quarterbacks that, are starting for their teams and making them playoff contenders, like you said, I think that can grow, because even looking ahead for the next draft, guys like Carson Beck, possibly Drew Aller, although he's out for the season, guys from Indiana, I forget the quarterback's name, in Nebraska, these guys are going to be coming in, and like how Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and Jane Daniels did for their teams, they're probably going to do the same for whatever team picks them up. 3-4 years down the road, we may be looking at kind of what you're saying, where there are 2 to 3 good quarterbacks, maybe even more, that come out of college, but the need isn't there in the first or even second round, where you have teams who are like, we've got our guy. Now we've got to build the offensive line. Now running backs have become a more of a hot commodity, whereas we saw a good stretch there where taking a running back was in the first round was kind of like frowned upon. I mean, there was a bunch of not hate necessarily, but criticism about the Atlanta Falcons taking Bijan, and we see how much Bijan plays a factor in the Falcons offense. So I can absolutely see that, but it's kind of a wild conversation, because you think of like teams, and I could probably think of like 3-4 teams right now off the top where I'm like, they need to get a quarterback next year. But with the 5-year deals that these quarterbacks are getting, you've already got 6 teams from last year, right? The Falcons, the Bears, the Broncos, the Commanders, the Patriots, and the Vikings, who have their guys in place. Obviously, JJ McCarthy's been hurt a little bit, and that's why they've had to start Carson Wentz. But the rest of the 5, that's their starters, and they're all doing really well. So I can see, with already established quarterbacks like your Josh Allen, your Joe Burrows, your Lamar Jacksons, that makes 9 total teams, almost a third of the NFL, that have their guys, just off the top of my head, right? That have their guys at quarterback. So I can absolutely see like 4 quarterbacks who are really, really good coming out of college in about 3-4 years. One of them, maybe 2 of them, gets picked in the first round, and the other 2 maybe late second, third, possibly even the 4th, because the need for quarterback isn't there. And again, like you said, it's because they're starting to become a really good balance between all these NFL teams. And we had mentioned before, a lot of these quarterbacks are already coming out NFL ready. I mean, we saw Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, Bo Nix, and I believe that's it, last year, all start the first game of the season for their teams. Fast forward to this year, those 3 plus Penix, JJ McCarthy, and Drake May all started week 1. So whether you give them a year coming out of college, they're going to be ready for the most part right now in their first game in the NFL after the preseason and all that. So the parity is going to be there, I think, moving forward with whatever quarterbacks come out. And like you said, I can definitely see the first round of the NFL draft in 3-4 years be like 0 quarterbacks taken, and you see offensive line, defensive ends, possibly even running backs and wide receivers, right, going in that first round. And you won't see a quarterback taken until mid-second to early third.
Yeah, we saw Cam Ward and Jackson Dart were the only 2 quarterbacks selected in the first round. NFL Draft Buzz gave Jackson Dart an 87 grade at quarterback. But you look at the positional rankings for 2026, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 quarterbacks, or 8 quarterbacks with an 87 grade or higher.
Wow.
And that's pretty insane. Right now, Lenoris Sellers out of South Carolina, is the number 1 ranking. He has the physical tools and development.
Wow.
He's like a Jalen Hurts plus skill set.
Yeah.
Then you got Oregon's quarterback, Dante Moore. You got, was this Utah, Fernando Mendoza. West Coast system. Then you got Oklahoma's quarterback, John Madeir, and then Jaden Maeva from USC, and then LSU's. I've seen LSU's quarterback. This is a big boy. He's 6'1", but he feels a lot bigger on the field.
Damn.
And then Arch Manning at 7, and he's had an off year.
Yeah.
Real quick, like have you been keeping up with Arch Manning and seeing like everything going on with that?
Not necessarily watching games or like any highlights, but I've heard that right now, he's been pretty bad, and he's definitely staying another year at college. Like, he's got to take whatever he's learning, the what's the word, the adversity he's facing right now this year, take it into next year, and then be like, all right, I'm going to get drafted by somebody next year, but it's not going to be this draft.
But yeah, Peyton Manning always said at the very end of his career, one of the best like career decisions he made was staying an extra year at Tennessee. And that was like Arch Manning, you go and do his uncle for advice. Manning's like, you got your whole life to be in the NFL. You only have right now, like, this is special time. And Manning's not one to, and obviously he's not hurting for money, which is a big reason people jump to the league. It's like, hey, I need some money. Like, Arch Manning's good.
Trying to get a milli.
He's somebody that I could see not only staying next year, but the year after. I think Arch Manning is going to be around Texas for quite a while, because this year isn't working out. Next year, let's say he gets on track, starts playing good ball, falls short. He's going to try to win the Natty the year after.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, a lot of parity in the NFL. And I'll ask you this, and we'll move on. With the parity, what's the most shocking team right now, do you think? Like, when you look at the way things are going, like, who's the team? It could be a good team that's bad. It could be a bad team that's good. Is there anything that is just like totally left field for you?
I'm going to give you 2 left fields for me, and that's the Colts and the Giants. The Giants, the Giants are 2-4. Let's not put them up there and be like, oh my God. Yeah. They're going crazy or whatever.
And such a good win though against the Eagles.
I know it really was. And with Jackson Dart, Dable making that switch again, realizing Russ ain't the guy. I'm going with Jackson Dart, my first rounder. Best decision he's made.
I said they should have done from the jump.
Yep. And I think a lot of NFL media would have agreed with you, right? It's like, go with Jackson Dart, man. He seems good in the preseason. And they're 2-4, but they are a very surprising team in terms of like how they've won and how they're winning, with how Dart and Scatterbo are just like this like duo that reminds me of like Caleb and Rome or Nix and Cortland Sutton, right? Where it's just like these guys like each other, they like playing with each other, and it shows on the field. The other one to me is definitely the Colts. We had them last, if not third in the division, at least for me during our division predictions. And here they are
number 1 in the AFC.
What's that?
I had them number 1 in the AFC.
Yeah. All right. And here they are 5-1 with Daniel Jones as their quarterback and Steichen really being like, all right, am I on the hot seat? Cool. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go with my veteran instead of Anthony Richardson. Anthony can't complete a 5-yard flat route. Richardson as my quarterback. So those are the 2 biggest ones. And in terms of teams that really surprised me in being bad, I think I got to go with, the same AFC South, Houston. They got rid of Laramie Tunsil, and you were expecting that the guys that they brought in, I forget who they brought in from the Vikings alignment. I thought CJ Stroud and that offense would be a little bit better with what's his name?
Collins.
Nico Collins. Yes. Thank you. And the running backs and all that offense kind of healthy, but you see they're 2-3 right now. And they got a win against the Ravens last week, but they still don't look like they could take on any team in the AFC or even NFC for that matter, some of the top teams, and win convincingly. So in terms of like out of left field teams, it's the Colts and the Giants on the positives, and then Texans on the negative.
Yeah, good teams that are a little worse and bad teams we thought are really good, and that's kind of what's created that parity. All right. When we talk about good teams that are bad, I think my biggest is the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the
Yeah.
Ravens are a team that was like, okay, they were already loaded. And it's like, how did they get better by adding Jair Alexander and DeAndre Hopkins? It's like, of course, like, yeah, they're better. I can't believe it was possible, but somehow the
Yeah.
Ravens are even better. And
Mhm.
Derrick Henry looks amazing. And then you
Mhm.
come out week 1 and Derrick Henry's running for 150 yards and
Yep.
you're just like, oh my gosh, he's getting better. And it's like, yeah, this is probably everyone's number 1 team or number 2. And then the Ravens end up giving up 16 points, I believe, in the last 4 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
And losing in a heartbreaker to the Bills. And now they're 1-5.
Yeah.
And they are just like, they are really sliding. Now you
Mhm.
had some playoff hopes even with all this. Like, I have to tell you, Lamar Jackson hasn't been playing, which is a huge reason for the 1-5 record. He's missed the last 2 weeks, and he was going to always miss those games because they have a bye week coming up, and they're
Yep.
going to try to use that. And then against the Bears, he'll make his first start again.
Mhm.
But we're seeing this Ravens team in a bad place, and then Harbaugh says he believes that the 1-5 Ravens can make the playoffs, leaning hard on Lamar Jackson for a turnaround. And he said, and I quote, "Our focus going forward and what we can accomplish for the next 11 games is try to earn our way to the playoffs," which obviously, as it was pointed out last night, has not been done very often with the record we have, but we still believe we can do it, the coach said Monday. And, you know, I don't think it's that crazy. Like,
Mhm.
now I understand it's something that's been, very, very rarely has it been done. Actually, since 1970, only 4 teams have made the postseason after starting 1-5.
Mhm.
You got Washington in 2020. Now they were 7-9 and won their division, so let's just throw that away. But then the other 3, you got the 2018 Colts, who finished 10-6, actually, second in their division. In
Mm.
2015, the Chiefs, they were 1-5. They finished 11-5. And then 1970 is the last one. The Bengals, 8-6, one
Oh,
division.
wow.
I mean, you got 2 division winners at 8-6 and 7-9. There's really
Mhm.
only 2 like real examples. It's the Chiefs and the Colts who were able to turn their season around 1-5, and then they won every game for the rest of the year. And then
Mhm.
the Colts were 1-5, and they only lost 1 game for the rest of the year. That's the kind of revival the Ravens are attempting to do.
Yep.
The question is, like, is John Harbaugh crazy for thinking it's possible? But we know what Lamar looks like when he's at the top of his game, and
Yeah.
I think as unlikely as the numbers and the analytics tell you, when the Ravens have Lamar Jackson, they're going to be a favorite to win all these games anyway.
Mhm.
The real question is, like, the margin of error is 0, and can they walk that line and get to the other side without dropping a game or 2?
And Harbaugh talking about Lamar, like really leaning heavy on him, dude. Lamar's fine. He's going to do what he needs to do to win games. Right now, I think the biggest concerns are what is your defensive scheme? What and why are you guys 31st or 32nd in major categories in terms of rush yards, pass yards allowed, points per games allowed, total defense?
They are coming off their best defensive performance of the year
Yeah,
by
17
holding the
points.
Rams to.
Yeah.
But the Rams are a really good offense. Like, I'm just saying, like, they're maybe in the right direction defensively, maybe.
I hope so because like they're still like, even though that was a really good game, the only time they've allowed less than 30 points in a game so far this season, and it took 6 weeks for that.
Yeah.
It's if you can build off of that defensively, okay, the arrows are pointing up. You're getting Lamar back here in a week or so. Arrows are pointing up, and you got Derrick Henry, who rushed for 100 yards for the first time this year since week 1 on Sunday Night Football. So you're starting to get these struggles kind of sorted out, and maybe kind of what you're saying after this loss, this good loss, I guess we'll say, against the Rams. That's why Harbaugh's saying the things he's saying. But I don't know if his comments necessarily need to be focused on Lamar. Yeah, Cooper Rush isn't a guy who's going to get you to the playoffs, but when Lamar comes back, like the confidence in Lamar should be sky high. This guy's won multiple MVPs, has been in the running for more MVPs, and has taken your team in the playoffs and has finally won playoff games with his skill set. I think the real focus needs to be on the defense and getting your guys healthy, honestly, and figuring out why you're not able to get Derrick Henry in the end zone on short yardage goal line plays, whatever it is. What's up with that offensive line? Do we need to make a change? Do we need to shuffle some guys around? Something like that. But I don't, you talked about the comebacks for a lot of these teams. And I said the Ravens are not going to make the playoffs because they're 1-5 right now. Yeah, they're getting Lamar back, but they need a tremendous type of comeback because even when the Bills were in a similar situation a couple of years ago, their record wasn't 1-5. If my memory serves me correctly, they were probably like 2-3, 3-3, something like that. They were losing games that they shouldn't have, but they weren't in such a hole like the Ravens are. Now, Harbaugh, obviously going to have all the confidence in the world with his guys. I just don't know if that's going to be possible because looking at the losses, Buffalo, Detroit, Kansas City, and the Rams, those are all perennial playoff teams. Like if we're being honest, right? If we're keeping it a buck, those are playoff teams, and the Ravens are ass right now.
Yeah,
it's going to take a lot more than just we're leaning heavy on Lamar to get you back in the playoff race, even the division race. It's going to take a lot of what are we doing defensively and how can we get our guys healthy? And again, what can we shake up to possibly really, really think about playoffs by week 12, week 13? Like, how do we have to maneuver things in order for 5 games before the season's over? We are in the hunt and thinking about playoffs.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Turning the page to a struggling team, Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn in the game that we just saw in London, it's kind of a weird one. First off, I want to apologize on behalf of all of America for putting that football game on your. I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry that you guys had to go there and witness that. On the other hand, that's my uncle's favorite type of game. Like when I see a game that's like 3-6. Oh, when I grew up, that was a great game. We want the fireworks now, but there are some people out there that can appreciate the type of game that was played on Sunday. Most can. Me, not one of them. But Aaron Glenn, I don't think a lot of people know Aaron Glenn. They know he was the defensive coordinator for the Lions. That's pretty much all they know. I wanted to throw in this little tiny paragraph here so you guys listening can know this about him because I think it's important. Aaron Glenn, who's 53 years old, he's a former first-round pick for the Jets. He was a shutdown cornerback for the Jets. He earned 2 Pro Bowls in 97 and 98, and he's tied for second in franchise history with 24 interceptions. He retired in 2008. His last season was with the Saints. And then he scouted for the Jets in 2012 to 2013, where he was drafted. And then after that, he earned a coaching assistant job with the defensive backs coach with the Browns for 1 year. And then he turned the page and went to coach under Sean Payton as the Saints defensive back coach from 2016 to 2020, contributing to a top 10 defense before joining the Lions in 2021 under Dan Campbell, where he built a number 1 ranked defense in 2024. And keep in mind, Dan Campbell was under Sean Payton as well. We talk a lot about the Kyle Shanahan tree, the Sean McVay tree. Sean Payton has a tree, and it's just now begun to really branch out. We're seeing Dan Campbell and then all of the staff that was under him getting head coaching job. This is a Sean Payton tree, and that's why Aaron Glenn and Sean Payton, they have a real relationship. And when he was asked, Sean Payton, about the Jets and Aaron Glenn and what to make of it. One of his comments was like, it takes time to build a culture. And, when you get a head coaching job, you're going to a place where you didn't pick any of those players.
Yeah.
You maybe had one draft. That's it. And now you got
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. And then you got 48 other players that you didn't hand select. It's like the Bears with their penalties, Liam Cohen with the penalties. It's like, why can't they just coach this out? And those guys are like, because these players keep committing penalties. I didn't select these guys.
Yeah.
They were just there when I got there, and I'm trying, but some people just, that's why I went to drafted this particular player, because he committed this many penalties in college and you guys didn't notice, So there has to be a little bit of grace we give to brand new head coaches. And at the same time, this is such a results driven league, as we talked about earlier with Brian Callahan being fired. But I thought when I watched the Jets game, I thought they were showing a lot of fight. Defensively, they were playing really good, but Aaron Glenn with clock management, it just seemed like he was kind of like over his skis on a lot of things. Like the sequence of events to close out the first half was terrible. It reminded me of Nathaniel Hackett, just like Aaron Glenn kind of confused. Justin Fields didn't know what to do. The clock's running out. Are you trying to score? Are you trying to make sure Denver doesn't get the ball back? Like they weren't really sure what they were doing. And Denver was just sitting there like, okay, we're going to wait for them to make a move so we can determine, if we want to call our timeouts or not. Because if they're going to be aggressive, we'll hold them. And it's like the Jets never made a move. And it was like, okay, that's the end of half. Like everybody went to the half confused. And through week 6 now, the Jets are 0-6. They're the only winless team. They're on pace to join just 4 teams that have been 0-6 or worse. You got the 0-7, 0-14 Buccaneers. And the Lions were infamously 0-16.
Yep.
And that was like a big deal. I remember that year. I think that's how they got Matthew Stafford, if I'm not mistaken. But
I believe so, yeah.
The Jets are they're in a bad place. They're the first team in history to lose first 5 games without forcing a turnover. They haven't, offensively, they haven't had any turnovers. They've been protecting the football. But 11 flags in week 5 loss to the Steelers. They're just, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be cleaned up. And remember when Dan Campbell got to the Lions, they were 0-7. they were 0-7 and they kept losing in heartbreaking fashion. And then the page finally turned and the team started winning games. I'm not ready to be like, yeah, Aaron Glenn's not the guy. And I know I gave the Jets a lot of crap when I said they fired a defensive coach, brought in another defensive coach. Like, but no, I don't believe the sky is falling. I don't think there's any reason to panic yet. Ownership is always preaching like patience for the long-term contention. And then we see these knee-jerk reactions where you can never get a system in place because you're always bringing in new people. And it's like, it's really hard to build a culture that way. So I think the Jets need to give him 3 years just because of how bad this team. I mean, look, on paper, this team shouldn't be bad, right?
They should not.
You look at these guys and you're like, so what is it? And everyone points to ownership, right? It's like, okay, why is everyone good when they leave the Jets? Sam Darnold's good when he leaves the Jets. Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, that was Aaron Glenn's first decision, get rid of Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. So there's a lot here, but what do you make of Aaron Glenn's 0-6 start? And, what do you think of like, those are the kind of decisions that people are starting to wonder with the way Fields is playing. Week 1, it looked like a great decision. Like he played a great game. And then since then, they lost and they lost to the Steelers in that week 1 game.
Yeah.
And
that could have been a win. That could have been their only win of the season.
Yeah, and they wanted that one, going against Aaron Rodgers. So, what do you make of Aaron Glenn, the state of the New York Jets, and his 0-6 start?
I would say, it's a first-time head coach, like you said at the very top. It is a team that is not necessarily built in his vision, and he made those decisions about Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams very early into being a coach, into being the head coach there for the Jets. The thing that bothers me the most right now about Aaron Glenn is his inability to make the change that needs to be made. And it's the obvious one, and it is Justin Fields. I'm not saying Tyrod Taylor is going to be this magician all of a sudden where you see Daniel Jones and you see Mac Jones like doing extremely well, years removed from their prime, I guess you could say, or when they were expected to really be good. But it's going to look a lot better than -10 net passing yards against the Broncos. Credit to the Broncos defense. They sacked Fields 9 times and they were able to put him in a really, really bad situation there at quarterback. But Cam Ward, rookie, first game of his NFL career, had a much better game than 6-year NFL veteran Justin Fields. Aaron Glenn needs to make this decision, and he needs to make it now. And fans are pissed because this is how you start off sour with your fans. And Jets fans have been through a lot. It's just these are the decisions that you need to make as a head coach, where it's like, hey man, Justin, look, game 1 of the season, not bad. Everything after, dog shit, right? Like it has been bad. Like it is like I'm reading an article right now about, the pressure that he's getting from fans about making the switch. And it's like, yeah, it's malpractice. What he's doing is keeping Justin Fields out there. And again, on paper, this
can he pick it? Who do they want to switch to?
Tyrod Taylor, like anything but Justin Fields.
I feel like Justin Fields gives you better ceiling than Tyrod Taylor.
I don't believe it.
I would be down to go. I mean, look, if they keep losing, they're going to have to. There's no choice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I think he'll give you an initial bump. But look at how Fields played in his first game. Like everyone looks good at first, and then it kind of settles back down, and it's like, yeah, Tyrod Taylor's not the answer either. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like Jets fans acting like that's the squeaky wheel that needs the grease, is Tyrod Taylor needs to be the starter, is a little delusional.
I think, though, I don't think that they're necessarily believing that is what's going to make this Jets team a 10-6 team by week 16 or whatever. But I think that there needs to be a change. I think there needs to be something, because as a Bears fan, I've dealt with this a lot. Why are we going with Mitch? Why are we going with Justin Fields
over here?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, why are we going with Andy Dalton instead of Justin Fields in his first year, right? His rookie season. Let's see what we got. Right. And it's frustration. It's the coaches not wanting to look like, oh, I got to backtrack on my decision.
Can I interest you in Kirk Cousins before the trade deadline?
That's a good one. That's a good Kirk Cousins.
Would a Kirk Cousins going once, going twice? Yes, to the Jets.
Sold to the Jets.
Does that not make the most sense? Would that just, unless the Jets are intentionally tanking, why in the world is Kirk Cousins still not a Jet? That makes no sense. I could understand why other teams, are deciding to go with their. Why is Kirk Cousins not a Jet? Why?
And I think it has to do with his contract, but I think the Atlanta Falcons are in no position to be like, you got to take a chunk of his contract. No way. The Jets are probably like
paying at quarterback.
Exactly that too. They gave Justin Fields, I think, $16 million for 2 years, and it's like, why? He's never proven that is starter material. Yes, he went 4-2 with the Steelers last year, but he's not a starter. He is not. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, it's not that much. I mean, it's $8 million a year. Well, you're talking in a league where top quarterbacks are getting 50. It's not, Justin Fields is definitely in that tier where it's like, he is a backup with upside. And if he has a good agent, he's going to sell that upside and get an extra $4 or $5 million. And that's what happened. I mean, I don't think if you said $25 million, I would be like, okay, why are we in that? But getting $8 million a year is like, yeah, it's flirting with overpay, but the upside is exciting. He's an exciting first-round player not too long ago, and he's very gifted. I mean, when he's
athletically, yes,
very.
He just
gifted,
can't. Yeah. He's just really bad at staying in the pocket, and I was seeing some film about that, and it's like similar to when Caleb Williams didn't throw to Monangai in that 2-point conversion last night. As soon as Monangai turns around, throw the ball. As soon as Garrett Wilson on that like it was the last minute of that game against the Broncos. Soon as Garrett Wilson broke on his route on a 7-yard out, first down out, whatever, Fields should have thrown it. Instead, he throws it very late, which is what he's done all of his career. And Hufanga was able to make a play on the ball. Even if Garrett Wilson catches that ball, Hufanga's going to give him a hard hit. And he might have even stayed in bounds with how much time Hufanga had to get to the ball in that situation. That is Justin Fields' problem ever since he joined the league. He has not been able to anticipate like an NFL quarterback should. And can we blame the Bears? Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't see the field well, and then he obviously doesn't have it with the clock management. When they asked Sean Payton after that game about Glenn's decision to let the clock expire on 4th and short before the end of the first half, and he goes, "Yeah, we were waiting for either a Hail Mary or something. That's unusual." And
if the opposing coach is like, "What are you doing, dude?" It's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. And Sean was like, "Hey, we know what kind of defense we have. Like, we're." I will say this, Sean is, fans are concerned with how you win games. Sean's not. He's so willing to just be like, oh yeah, we're going to play this kind of game. We're going to run it on 3rd and 10.
Yeah.
I'm okay with punting it. They can't score on this defense. And it's
exactly.
Yeah, the game within the game. But the Broncos do that by choice. The Jets had no choice. That's just who they are. You know what I mean?
That is just who they are. And I can, again, I've dealt with inept coaching, inept management for so long as a Bears fan, where I'm just like, the Jets have probably been dealing with it longer. At least I've seen a playoff game in the last 10 years. Yeah, pretty much the whole life, right? Whereas the Jets have not, and they are 3 years removed from a league best defense, hope in Zach, what was his name? Zach Wilson as a quarterback. They're like 3-4 years removed from that. And then bringing in Aaron Rodgers and being like, oh my God, right? Like, we're here now. We can possibly do it. Like,
they were number 1 at my power rankings going into 2024.
Yeah.
I had him at number 1. I'm like, this is a Super Bowl team.
And I'm sure even in 23, when the first year of Aaron Rodgers was like, they're going to be a team to contend with. It's just now with Aaron Glenn, it is such a different team. It just seems like a lot of the wind has been taken out of their sails, and specifically players maybe, that I think, like you said, give Aaron Glenn 3 years. Okay. But I think the most important part, and what Jets fans I think really want to, is for Aaron Glenn to build the team in his vision, and then see if he can execute that vision in the next 2 seasons, not counting this one, because you're going to have to get rid of Fields possibly for next year. You're going to get rid of Breece Hall, maybe, next year, or maybe even this year at the trade deadline. You're going to get rid of guys that are veterans that have played really well on the Jets over the last few seasons that you're not going to see anymore. You're going to probably see a fire sale from the Jets and Aaron Glenn on a lot of the players, maybe Garrett Wilson, but I don't know. I'll see. We'll see about it, but I don't know, man. It's been a tough go for Aaron Glenn and the Jets.
Yeah, 0-6 start. Definitely, they're a rebuilding team, but we've seen some flashes, a lot of costly mistakes. But I think they're going to be a tough go every week. But yeah, they got a lot of work to do. Aaron Glenn's defensive pedigree hasn't really translated yet.
Yeah.
All right, what's going on with Adam Rank? And I wanted to bring this up because every single week there's a couple games where you see that picture of a matchup and everybody has one team, and then Adam Rank, who's usually the third box, has the other team, and he is like, I don't know, he's right a lot of the time. Just to give you 3 quick ones, he had the Bears over the Commanders. He was the only one besides that guy that did it in a joking way with the
73-0. Yeah, he did that because I forget if it was the Super Bowl or a playoff. Yeah, the Bears had beat them in like the 40s or 50s or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, he did that as
like a callback.
Yeah, exactly. But Adam Rank was like, No, I'm taking the Bears, like straight
Hmm.
up. And
Hmm.
then last week he had the Patriots over the Bills and the Broncos over the Eagles,
Yeah.
and he was the only one that does this. Do you think, like, my opinion on it is that it's not a joke, because I had the Broncos over the Eagles and I had the Patriots over the Bills. So like, I know I'm not joking. You
Hmm.
know, like,
Yeah.
sometimes I think there's a team that's kind of turned a page, and if you're not paying attention, which I got to say, I feel like a lot of the NFL analysts, they don't really watch the game. They just look at the box score and see, like, okay, what's the overall temperature? Like, okay, Bronco fans
Hmm.
are happy, they're not happy. Drake May's top 10. Like, they just go with whatever is like hot at that moment. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes there's a team that maybe doesn't have a great record, but you look at, like, oh man, they dropped 3 touchdowns. It was like the
Hmm.
Patriots against the Steelers, like they fumbled twice inside the 5-yard line, and they would have beat the Steelers. Now, had they beat the Steelers, then people would have took them to beat the Bills, but because
Yep.
they didn't realize, oh, they could have beat them. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's like,
Hmm.
sometimes people just lose in ways where you really beat yourself. And then instead of noticing that and being like, okay, let me just mentally put myself in a space where the Patriots beat the Steelers because they should have.
Yep.
How would I
Yep.
feel about this game now? I feel like Adam Rank is one of the guys that really does that. He really gives each team like an honest look and doesn't
Hmm.
just go with the yeah, who's the favorite? Let me just take that team.
Popular choice. Yeah.
Exactly.
I like Adam Rank, and one of the because I didn't really hear about Adam Rank until about 2 to 3 years ago, and then last season he went into the season saying, I think the Broncos are going to be better than what everybody else is saying. A lot of people were saying that the Broncos were going to pick first in the NFL draft, meaning they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. I'm sure you saw that and you're like, there's no way, right?
Oh, I have receipts.
Kyle's got motherfucking receipts. But Adam Ring said, you know what? No, I think they're better. I think their players are on the defense are better. I think Cortland Sutton and Bo Nix or whatever it was at the time, I think they're going to be better. And look what happened. The Broncos went to the playoffs, had 10 wins, and Adam Rank is sitting pretty going, told you. And then you talk about the recent picks that he's had, Bears, Broncos, Patriots, and you're starting to think like, can this guy see in the future? Is this guy like a fortune teller, NFL, like fortune teller who's got a crystal ball and he's just saying all this stuff, right? Like, but he is kind of what you said. He's not necessarily just a guy that looks at the box score or goes on Reddit NFL pages and goes, yeah, no, they're going to lose. Yeah, they're going to win, blah, blah, blah. He, to me at least, thinks about the things that he's going to say, backed up by data, by what the how the players are doing, what the
Oh,
matchup looks like, things like that, right? To that nature. I think he takes a really, really good look at that stuff and then makes his decision off that. And there you go, 24-23 with the Falcons just yesterday, just last night. There you
got
go.
this one, got
That
this
one was
one
close.
wrong. But yeah,
That one was
very
close.
and then had the Broncos, and it's funny because he actually said I was right in some sort of way, because I think he got the score right. I think he
Oh,
just got
maybe, yeah. Maybe,
um
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, he does this every single week, and
Mhm.
I just love it. And I just, there's nothing like or rank, because he had the Bears winning 30-27 yesterday.
Mhm.
Uh and he had the Falcons winning 24-23. And the Falcons ended up beating the Bills pretty good. It wasn't even a close game, and it makes you wonder, like, it makes you reevaluate when a game like
Mhm.
this happens. It takes everything and it just shakes it up, because you have
Yeah.
to ask yourself, like, are the Bills worse than we thought, or are the Falcons better than we thought? And the easy answer is always it's a combination of both. But that doesn't
Mhm.
help me next week. I need
Yeah.
like I need something more than that. And you just have to try to decide. It's like prime time in Atlanta. Maybe that's what caused it. But yeah, the Bills are coming off 2 losses, in a row right now, and Adam Rank was the only one that predicted it. So good on him. I want to talk quickly about it's the first quarter's over of the season. We've
Yep.
talked about teams that are bad that you thought would be good or thought would be bad or vice versa. A lot of reasons for bad teams being good or good teams being bad is because standout players either underperform or you have guys like Drake May who blow expectations out of the water. And we're going to talk about after the first quarter of the season, the award frontrunners for the NFL 2026 awards, which it's obviously the 2025 season, but I believe they give this out right before the Super Bowl. So that would be, I don't know, is it considered the 2026 MVP or the 2025? I think it's
no, it's 2025 technically, but they're awarded in the next year.
Yeah. I always get confused with that. Like the Super Bowl's in 2026, but is it the 2025 champion? So I think right away, your MVP is Baker Mayfield.
Off the rip, yeah. Baker Mayfield is, I said it before the season even started that he was a candidate for the MVP award, and he has clearly played like an MVP throughout these games with the Bucs, man. There's times, and we've said it over and over and over again, like Baker Mayfield is playing like an absolute monster, and he is one of those guys that can take over a game if needed. We talk about your Josh Allens and your Joe Burrows and your Lamar Jacksons, even about players that can really take over a game if they need to, and how some of these younger guys are really starting to get into that mode where you can completely count on them to win a game for you. And Baker Mayfield is doing it, and he's doing it with the Bucs right now, and they're doing it in such a fun way and almost a dominant way. And it's almost unfair because you got Mike Evans on one side where he is just continuing his 1,000-yard season streak. And then last year, Bucky Irving emerges. And now this year, you got Emeka Egbuka, the rookie wide receiver from Ohio State, killing it. So Baker, not only do you have Baker's talents, but you surround him with a plethora of really good offensive players, and that just makes everybody else better. And his offensive line is doing a really good job for him. And they are, I believe they should be, they are leading the division, but I don't know, are they the one with 5 wins as well? They are. They're 5-1.
Yeah. A 5-win team.
Yeah. And so like the Baker is one of the biggest reasons as to why this team is where they're at right now.
Yeah. And I would love to just agree with you on this because I think winning MVP, even if there's like a close other candidate, you got to be like this player that's captivating. And I feel like Baker Mayfield has been that, whether it's the jawing on the sideline with the fan before the Seahawks game, like you're going to be real upset at halftime. You're old. You're new. You're old. You're new. But God, I love it. I just want to inject it into my veins. Like I want a dose of Baker Mayfield in my coffee. Like I love his ability to get so emotional. We're like, and then, I'm not going to be hurt because this guy's taunting. Let me jump up and get in his face. And I've seen like funny shorts where it's like Baker Mayfield being hurt, but he can't because someone's celebrating, and he like just quickly stops being hurt.
That was so funny.
Dude, it's so hilarious. Funny. And the way he's getting these scrambles, like he's rolling out, getting these like insane, like he's putting his body on the line, like every single play. No Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Bucky Irving, no problem. I'm Baker Mayfield. I feel like he's a Dan Campbell quarterback. Dan Campbell was he might not realize it, but he was born for Baker Mayfield to be his quarterback. And I love Jared Goff. I do like Jared Goff. When watching Sunday Night Football, I'm like, Jared Goff is so good. And I just feel like he doesn't get talked about enough. The throws he makes are unreal. The anticipation he puts on them in the ball placement over and over and over. It's just, I guess it's boring, but it's amazing to watch. But Baker Mayfield is just that type of player where it's like, you're going to get those gritty wins out of him. And I think right now he's just running away with the MVP. Now, I would be remorse if I didn't bring up Daniel Jones, because Daniel Jones is maybe playing at the highest level of any quarterback right now. And if I would have told you that Daniel Jones was going to be MVP in if I would have told you when Baker was with the Panthers that in 2025 the MVP race will be between the Baker Mayfield and the Colts with Daniel Jones, you would have been like, okay, the future's weird. You know what I mean? Like, where's Lamar? They're 1-5. Okay, well, what about the Chiefs? No, not a good year for the Chiefs.
Not yet. Nope.
Wait, okay. What about the Bills? Drake may just beat them. What? It's like it's just everything we knew is gone, and I love it. I mean, you look at Jonathan Taylor. He's going to be my offensive player of the year guy. Okay. I think
so too.
Yeah. Jonathan Taylor's definitely earned offensive player of the year so far. Do you have a guy for that?
I agree with Taylor. I also want to throw in James Cook, running back for the Bills, because the Bills didn't have a running game for the longest time. James Cook comes into the mix. Now it's not all on Josh Allen. Yes, Josh Allen still takes over games, but James Cook is a great compliment, especially given the fact that the Bills now have a really good running game. So Taylor for sure is up there, but I do want to give the flowers to James Cook and maybe even Puka Nacua. I know he's battling an injury right now, but man, he is insane with the amount of catches and the yards and just how crucial he is to that Rams offense.
Yeah, it feels like Puka Nacua just continues to do this every single year.
Yeah.
But the way the Colts are playing, you got to give an award to either it's got to be either Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor. And what's crazy is like Shane Steichen could potentially win Coach of the Year again, I think. Would you agree with that? Like Shane Steichen for Coach of the Year?
I could see that, and because we have talked about how coming into the season, he was on the hot seat 100%. And now he's proving that he's like, you know what? I'm going to make the decisions based off what I think is best. Putting Daniel Jones in a quarterback and benching Anthony Richardson. These are the decisions that as a coach, you want, as a fan, you want your coach to make. And Shane Steichen is looking really good right now with his decision-making at 5-1 atop the AFC South with Daniel Jones as his quarterback. I also want to give a shout out to Mike McDonald from the Seahawks. Last year wasn't great. There was a lot of struggles there towards the end of the season for the Seahawks, but now they are 4-2, tied with the Rams and the 49ers for the lead in the division. And that defense for Seattle looks extremely scary. And the offense looks really good with Sam Darnold there as well.
Yeah. And do you got any other coach for like Todd Bowles? Would he potentially be somebody that you would consider with like all the injuries that they've gone through, yet they're 5-1?
I can absolutely take that into consideration. Absolutely.
What about Liam Cohen, with the Jags this year? Because I will say, to Coach of the Year, you have to have two things. You have to have a major injury to your franchise quarterback, but you still salvage your season.
Yeah.
Or you have to be a very bad team that flipped and got good. Like those are the two criterias. If you look at the last 10, they'll all be like, oh, okay, yeah, they lost Lamar, but they salvaged a season with Tyler Huntley. Then Lamar came back, or it'll be like, oh yeah, they went from a 3-win team to 11, 12-win team.
Yeah.
Usually, if you're like a 10-win team back-to-back years, it's just not a big enough story to secure that award. So I don't know if Todd Bowles could win it under that criteria, but Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen. I mean, Mike Vrabel. What about Mike Vrabel
too? Yeah.
I mean, the Patriots have been a 4-win team for back-to-back years, and they already have 4 wins this year.
Yeah, I think all those guys are very good candidates, especially like the not necessarily rookie head coaches, but your Vrabels and your Ben Johnsons and your Liam Cohen's. Yeah.
Do you have a defensive player of the year guy?
Not yet necessarily. I gotta give credit to Benito with his 9 sacks or 7 sacks, whatever it is this year. He's doing really well. Aiden Hutchinson and Joey Bosa are doing really, really well so far this year as well. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson last year was a guy who was basically the defensive player of the year until he got injured. And Bosa with the Bills has forced 4 fumbles so far this year. And, maybe the sack numbers, tackle for losses numbers aren't necessarily there, but to force 4 fumbles as a defensive end or defensive tackle, that is huge. That is huge and definitely gets you in the running there. But I do want to give your boy Benito his flowers for sure.
I was going to say, like Nick Benito, I mean, if they break that record, and me and Rick were talking about it before we started, they have 100 or they have 30 sacks already. So they're on pace to break the record from the 1987 Bears. And the team with the second most sacks only has 20. They have 10 more sacks than the team that's in second place. But I think it's very possible that we're going to get this instead. Surtain winning it again. And I don't know if has there ever been a team to have 2 defensive player of the years back-to-back years, not the same player, but if it was Nick Benito this year and Surtain last year, has that ever happened? And it's worth noting that Jonathan Cooper actually leads our team in sacks, and so we have 2 guys that are leading the NFL in sacks on each side. And then you look at Surtain, and it's like he continues to shut every wide receiver down, whether it's DK Metcalf or not DK, but Jamar Chase or Garrett Wilson. These guys are having 2 catches for 20 yards on 10 targets. I mean, the days of debating whether Sauce Gardner is better than Surtain, I think they're long gone. But do you think it's possible Surtain, if he continues to just play the way he's playing right now, Denver's only given up 15 points per game, maybe even less. Last time I checked, they were second in the NFL. But do you think he could win it 2 years in a row?
No, probably not. I gotta say, it's
hard
not.
To.
I think 1, it's very difficult to win it 2 years in a row. I also think 2, not to shit on Surtain in any way, shape, or form. I think just because you hold top receivers to not great, to very mediocre games, I don't think that is as exciting as your defensive ends, your defensive tackles, your linebackers getting sacks, getting interceptions, getting tackles for losses. And again, this isn't to shit on Surtain in any way, shape, or form. It is just, I think that it's not as exciting. Yeah. And you want your Myles Garrett's, you want your Nick Bosa's, you want your Aiden Hutchinson's, the guys who are disrupting the game very obviously during games to win those awards. But that's not to say that. Yeah, no, I hate Surtain. That's not to say that.
If he wins it again, I'll blow my. No, I'm kidding.
That's not to say that it was undeserved by any means either last year. I just think that Surtain deserved it. Absolutely. He got it. And I don't know if the NFL is going to do it again with a shutdown corner.
If Denver leads the NFL in sacks, no, I'm sorry, let me rephrase this and make this a guarantee. If the Broncos break the all-time sack record from the Bears, there is an obligation to give the Defensive Player of the Year award to either Nick Benito or Jonathan Cooper. There is no other option. If
those guys are big.
If they break that record, that is a record that has been living since 1987. That record gets broken, there's no second place option. I'm being serious. There's not even. It's kind of like if a running back broke the all-time rushing yards record. There would be no second place for Offensive Player of the Year. It would be a unanimous vote. The only reason Denver might not have unanimous if they break the sack record is because Jonathan Cooper might be getting some of the other votes. It's going to be that incredible. But Houston is only giving up 12 points per game. Denver in second place, giving up 15.8 points per game.
Tough defenses.
Going to win you a lot of games. And their last 3 games now, they're averaging only 10 points, giving up 10 points. So
there you go.
Looking ahead to next week, we have this is going to just be an early look. Who do you see? Like, what jumps off the page? I'll tell you right away. I'm looking at I'm looking at a couple things. The Patriots and Titans, because it's funny, the Titans now have to go play Mike Vrabel, who they fired, and now Vrabel's coming to Tennessee.
Yeah, after they fired the coach they hired.
Exactly. The day. So that's just like the perfect storm of I don't even know what to call it, but it's great. Whether it's revenge or whatever. Then you got the other one I'm looking at. There's two. Of course, the Giants, after that big Eagles win, coming to Denver. That's a hard place to play, and I'm kind of excited to see who the Giants are, because Jackson Dart is about to be under a lot of pressure, but we've seen how good he is with his legs. Is it possible he can escape some of these pressures? Denver's going to have gap integrity to make sure he doesn't squeak through some of those. But I think my game of the week is on par with the NFL. It's the Commanders and Cowboys. It's an old school rivalry. It feels like this one matters because the Cowboys have been just incredible. Defensively, they're terrible. They're giving up 30 points a game. But offensively, like, I think Dak Prescott should be considered an MVP this year. And no one's really talking about him. I think if you and take out your number one wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb and give him Javonte Williams, it's like, okay, that, like, the fact that Dak Prescott's scoring more points than any team in the NFL, and he doesn't even have his number one receiver, we have to do some major reevaluating of how we view Dak Prescott. Because if you don't view him as a top 10 quarterback, I'm going to just say you're objectively wrong. The numbers don't back it up. I get that you don't, the playoffs, and look, Jerry Jones is running a clown show in Dallas. He won't let his coaches draft their own players. He is constantly micromanaging everything. And yet, over all of the odds, Dak Prescott has brought stability to a place that doesn't deserve it. It doesn't deserve stability, yet they're averaging 30 points, 29.7 points per game. That's third in the NFL, with Indianapolis and Detroit, who are two juggernauts. And then Dallas, who, because of their defense, unfortunately is not. But Dak Prescott, he is incredible. I'm excited to see them go against the Commanders. They just lost against the Bears. This has got to be, like I said yesterday, it was going to be a fork in the road moment for the Commanders. And this game is going to be huge. The rivalry, the implications for both teams. I'm excited.
Yeah, the NFC East is running wild right now, and definitely one of those tougher divisions now, with like the emergence of Jackson Dart and the Giants offense and the Dallas Cowboys offense being really good. So Jaden Daniels definitely going to be looking over his shoulder, as well as Jalen Hurts. But I agree with all those games. I love like the storylines behind those. The game of the week for me is going to be that first Monday Night Football game that's part of the doubleheader, and that's going to be Bucs and Lions. Lions coming off a bad loss against the Chiefs, and we talked about the fight that happened afterwards, and the Bucs are looking like a very, very real Super Bowl contender. Like, they're going to win their division more than likely if they continue on this trajectory that they're at. And if they can beat a Lions team, you know, you're starting to look at them and you're being like, Super Bowl. You're looking at the Super Bowl for those guys. So week 7 may not necessarily dictate what the playoffs are going to be, but there are some really good matchups. And I think this Bucs Lions is going to be one of those matchups where people are watching it, obviously because it's Monday Night Football, but being like, I think the Bucs can do it. I think the Bucs can do it.
Yeah. And we'll see how the Lions respond to everything that happened.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. Week 7 look ahead is going to be super exciting, guys. Thank you so much for being here on this first edition of NFL Breakfast Club. Credit to Kyle for the name, because he said that name and I was like, that's the one we got to go with. I love that name. It's so great. So I hope you guys, credit to you. Thank you guys, everybody who was here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the first episode of NFL Breakfast Club here on Only football. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate all the likes. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe. Follow us on X at Only Football Pod and at NFL with Kyle. Thank you guys again so much for being here. And Kyle, always a good time, brother.
Always a good time.